All right, joining me now is the founder of the George Mason University Cyber and Tech Center, the National Security Institute founder, Jamil Jaffer. Jamil, thanks so much for being with me today.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
All right, we're monitoring this breaking news, also awaiting the president to speak at any moment from the White House. But let's get into it, and we'll dip into that as we see fit. After being locked in a civil war since 2011, Assad's regime fell in just 2 short weeks. Can you walk our viewers through how these rebel fighters managed to overthrow the government so quickly?
I think what happened here, right, was that we've had this war going on for a long time. Assad's forces have been worn down. His supporters in Iran and Russia are sort of focused on other things. You got Russia focused on the war in Ukraine. Iran has lost a tremendous number of fighters in its proxy force in Hezbollah and Lebanon that came in prior years to defend the Assad regime. So both his key supporters are not able to defend him the way they need to. And the Turkish supporters of Hayat al-Sham have supported that group, built it up, and now it has taken major cities and now finally taken Damascus, taking Aleppo, Hama, and then Homs just recently, and now coming to the capital, Damascus. And so what's happened now, Bashar Assad has left Syria, he's fled the country, and it looks like these rebel forces are now poised or have taken power, in fact, in Syria, which now means there will be a new regime. To be seen what that regime will look like. You have to remember, these rebel forces, Alex, previously were supported by al-Qaeda and by ISIS. So the question is, are these rebels the rebels we like and want, that we supported in the past, the Free Syrian Army, or are these more al-Qaeda focused groups, in which case that could be a real challenge for the United States and our allies in Israel. But at the end of the day, for the Syrian people, a good end to this conflict with the dictator Bashar Assad gone.
Right, and you see those fireworks of celebration that we showed at the top of the show. So many people celebrating the downfall of Bashar al-Assad. Again, a live picture of the White House as we await President Joe Biden speaking from the Roosevelt Room. Let's talk about the other conflicts in the Middle East and potentially how the recent ceasefire and developments over the last month between Israel and Hezbollah might have influenced this rebel action in Syria. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, so certainly Israel's efforts to take down Hezbollah, particularly its key leadership like Hassan Nasrallah, its leader, as well as key operational players in Hezbollah, has weakened their ability to project power, not just in Israel, but into Syria as well. In the past, in 2013, 2014, when Bashar Assad was on the run and the rebel forces were surrounding Damascus, we saw Hezbollah send thousands of fighters into the Syria fight to defend the Assad regime. They're unable to do that today because they've lost operational leadership and they've lost overall leadership, in part because of their efforts against Israel in the aftermath of the October 7th attacks and Israel's response to Hezbollah.
Now, Assad is believed to have fled Syria. His location still unknown, but that's according to Russia, that he's no longer in that country. The Russian government, his chief backer, saying this, quote, as a result of negotiations between Assad and a number of participants in the armed conflict on the territory of the Syrian Arab Republic, he decided to resign from the presidency and left the country, giving instructions for a peaceful transfer of power. So where could Assad have fled to, and what is Russia's part in this ousted leader's next steps?
Yeah, look, Assad could either be in Russia, in Moscow, or in Tehran, or a country affiliated with one of those two countries, as they are his primary backers. That's where he's likely to be the safest. It's likely he's likely to be protected. And if he tries to make a return to power, those are the places where he's likely to come back from. But at the end of the day, this idea that the Russians are saying, well, he resigned for a peaceful transition of power. Bashar Assad never wanted to resign. Like his father, Hafez al-Assad, never wanted to resign. Russia and Iran both backed him. They have failed in this effort, and the rebels have now succeeded. Again, a win for the Syrian people who have been attacked by their leader Assad with chemical weapons, sarin, chlorine gas, and the like, but very challenging for the United States and our allies because we don't know really who's this rebel group. Are they our friend? Are they potentially al-Qaeda or ISIS affiliated? So a win for the Syrian people. Tough days ahead, both for the Syrian people and for us, to figure out who these new leaders will be. Will they hold democratic elections? And will those elections result in leadership that will benefit the Middle East and the Syrian people? Big questions ahead.
Yeah, Jamil, I want to just let you know, I was just told that Russian state media reports that Assad has landed in Moscow. So that doesn't surprise you based on what you just said just a moment ago.
No, Alex, that's exactly right. It's not surprising he'd be in Moscow. Those are the people who backed his father, have backed him. They have a major port in the north of Syria in Tartus, so they want to maintain that capacity, that capability to influence. And so the real question for the Russians now that Assad is there, is will they try to bring him back to power? And if so, what effort will they put behind that? And could that cause a follow-on to the civil war that's now ended, at least temporarily, in success for the Syrian people? Will the civil war turn because Iran and Russia try to prop Assad or some other leader in Syria back up again?
Okay, that's the founder of the George Mason University Cyber and Tech Center and National Security Institute founder, Jamil Jaffer. Thank you so much, Jamil. Great insight today.
Thanks, Alex.